Patriots captain Matthew Slater is back. The Pats signed Slater. They announced it. He announced it in conjunction with the team on Friday that he'll return to New England for his 16th season. It was reported then today that it's a one-year deal for a total of $2.67 million with a $1.3 million cap hit. So it's rather team-friendly, I'd say, for a guy who has been sort of a cornerstone here for the last 15 years. But what'd you make of the move? Do you think ultimately it made sense and should have been something that they did?
Yeah, and I'll start off right now. Anybody who's complaining about the contract, it takes up 0.6% of the salary cap. It's negligible. I'm glad he's back. I think that kind of leadership is going to be important as they try to turn this thing around. He can still play. I don't think he was the biggest issue last year with the Patriots special teams units. So if you can get a guy like that in the room, great. And we don't know if Cody Davis is going to be back. It sounds like Raekwon McMillan, Mac Wilson are going to be gone. So they were going to be down a lot of core special teams guys anyway. They were going to need to replace a number of these guys anyway. So having one more back on a very team-friendly deal, you add in the leadership element of it as well. Yeah, you can't hate it. I'm surprised. I thought he was going to retire. He sounded like a guy who was going to retire. But I'm not like upset he's coming back or anything.
No, I agree. I think I'm with you. It sounded like he was going to retire. It sounded like him and Devin were pretty much ready to go. I don't know if this means any more for McCourty, if maybe they might be some sort of tandem deal here. But look, I think if you want to talk as far as like guys who maybe have fallen off a little bit towards the end of their career, I feel like Devin McCourty might fit that mold where Matthew Slater really hasn't. He wasn't the problem on their special teams. He's still playing high quality football for the amount of snaps he plays on special teams. Not that McCourty's necessarily bad anymore, but he's definitely taken a step back. So I don't know if he'll be back, but if you had to choose one of the two, I'd say bring Slater back. But do you think this means anything for Dev?
I think it trends towards him returning. I'm not going to sit here and say that he's definitely back, but I know last year when he said he was considering retiring, he said Matthew Slater was one of the people who kind of talked him into coming back. Okay. So he now has Matthew Slater, somebody he is going to consult with. I don't think he's the only person. I think,
of course,
his family, his wife, his kids, I'm talking about Devin, are going to be first and foremost, as I think they were for Slater. But when he goes to Matthew Slater for that advice, well, Slater's going to say, hey, I'll be there. I'm back. I'm going to be in the room with you. So I think it probably trends towards, it helps the argument that McCourty's coming back.
Yeah.
I'm not ready to sit here and say he's definitely coming back because Slater's coming back, but I thought Slater was as good as retired, and now he's back. So I feel the same way I felt the same way about McCourty, but I think this opens up the door for him to return.
I wonder too about these guys coming back, on these one-year deals. And it almost feels like what the Bruins guys did with Bergeron and Krejci. And it's like, maybe we've got one more in us. Maybe we can get one last run together here. Do you and I wonder, and I sort of start to think about this team as far as being able to make the Super Bowl, right? If they have one last thing in them and the guys they could bring in, right? They have Bill O'Brien here now. Mac Jones hopefully takes that leap with a guy like O'Brien calling the offense now. Maybe they know something, we're going to go get a few guys on defense and we're going to bring in a tackle and we're going to sign a star wide receiver and we're going to try and make the most out of these guys last, year or two. And, maybe there's sort of one last hurrah in them. Like, just only because I don't see a 35-year-old, 36, whatever, however old he is, Slater and McCourty just coming back to come back. Like, they want to win football games, so it's almost like it must feel like they kind of have something here in New England, no?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's certainly encouraging that if it really was that horrible, look, neither of them were on offense, but if it really was that horrible in the locker room, they're not coming back. They're not coming back to deal with that. Right. So in that sense, yeah, it's encouraging.
Yeah, fair point. I think so too, because there was definitely some disarray here last year. Defense not as bad as offense. The special teams was back and forth, but I mean, again, if they feel like, not that there's necessarily this, we're gonna go all in and get Aaron Rodgers. I keep seeing that lately. Like, I don't think anything like that's gonna happen, but maybe they trust O'Brien with Mac, and maybe they think they can succeed. And like you said, things weren't as bad. Weren't as bad last year.